Most players pick the wrong dinosaur and waste hours because of it. So in the next 17 minutes, you'll see which dinosaurs are actually strong, which ones will get you killed, and which ones look good, but are a complete trap. Some of them are way stronger than people think, and some will ruin your entire run. Because choosing your dinosaur isn't about picking the biggest one, it's about picking one that actually matches your playstyle. And I know a lot of you are going to pick the Rex no matter what. So let's start there. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is the ultimate apex of the Isle, but being the ultimate apex comes at a cost, because early game is brutal. You're small, weak, and one of the easiest targets on the map. And with the longest growth time in the entire game, survival becomes the ultimate challenge. But as you grow, your role starts to change. Small Rex is fragile. Subadult Rex is stronger, but still vulnerable. But once fully grown, everything changes. The Rex dominates fights through raw power. Its bite can break bones, slowing prey and making escape nearly impossible. And its sheer weight can knock opponents to the ground. But the Rex is slow and has bad stamina, so it relies almost entirely on ambushes. And one misjudgment can still leave you on the brink of death. So finding enough food as an adult is difficult, and surviving long enough to get there is even harder. Because of this, the T-Rex is the worst dinosaur to start with. So if you want something just as powerful, but easier to grow, the Triceratops is the opposite side of the apex coin. Where the Rex dominates through offense, the Trike survives through defense. And when played properly, it's one of the most dangerous dinosaurs in the game. But just like Rex, the early game is rough. You're slow, visible, and everyone wants a piece. So survival at this stage is all about awareness. You need to avoid fights because running away isn't an option. But as you grow, your confidence starts to build, because Subadult Trike can finally start holding ground. And its charging attack can be fatal to anything that gets too close. But the real power comes when fully grown. A full-grown Triceratops is basically a walking fortress. It can absorb huge amounts of damage, and its horn attacks can kill even the most dangerous of predators. Trike has aura, but it still has weaknesses, because as the slowest dinosaur in the entire game, running away isn't an option. We just looked at the icons of the Isle, but most players shouldn't start here. So instead, we're starting with the easiest dinosaurs and working our way up to the ones that will get you killed. And one dinosaur sits clearly at the top of that list. The Carnotaurus is the easiest carnivore to understand. It's built for one thing: speed. With the single fastest sprint speed in the game, the Carnotaurus controls when fights happen, and for beginners, that's incredibly valuable. But speed alone doesn't win fights, because the Carno relies on stamina management. If you waste all your stamina fighting something, you can quickly become the one getting hunted. And despite its speed, the Carno has limits. It struggles against larger dinosaurs, and its turning radius makes fighting agile opponents difficult. So Carno players have to pick their fights carefully. When used properly though, the Carnotaurus becomes one of the most efficient hunters in the game. Fast growth, clear strengths, and the ability to escape danger all make Carnotaurus the best carnivore to start with. But speed isn't the only way to survive in the Isle. Sometimes survival comes from balance. The Tenontosaurus sits at a unique spot in the ecosystem. It's roughly the same size as the Carno, but instead of relying purely on speed, the Tenno combines mobility with strong defense. It's one of the faster herbivores in the game, and it has some tools to defend itself. With powerful kicks, claw attacks, and a devastating tail slam, a careless carnivore can lose a fight very quickly. But Tenonto doesn't dominate fights either. Some predators are still faster, and if multiple carnivores pressure you at once, things can go downhill very fast. So surviving as a Tenno is all about positioning. When played well, the Tenontosaurus becomes one of the most reliable herbivores in the game, and for beginners, it's one of the best herbivores to start with. But now we need to talk about the survival specialists, starting with the Dryosaurus. The Dryo is one of the smallest dinosaurs in the entire game, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in speed. The Dryosaurus is incredibly fast and agile. It can change direction quickly and slip through terrain that larger predators struggle to navigate. For Dryo players, survival isn't about winning fights, it's about avoiding them entirely. But that doesn't mean Dryo is completely harmless, because against small predators, Dryo can actually fight back. Because its 1-2-3 combo can punish anything that underestimates it. But those moments are rare. If a real predator catches you, it's usually game over. So playing Dryo is all about awareness. You stay hidden and rely on your speed to escape danger. But some survive in even stranger ways. The Hypsilophodon is the smallest dinosaur in the entire game. And just like the Dryo, it survives almost entirely through evasion. But that doesn't make Hypsi boring, because it actually has one of the most unique set of abilities in the Isle. If a predator gets too close, Hypsi can spit its own venom, temporarily blinding them, creating a perfect opportunity to escape. And if the ground isn't safe, Hypsi can even climb into trees. But none of these abilities are meant for fighting, because Hypsi has almost no real combat power, and if something actually manages to catch you, there's nothing you can do. So playing Hypsi is all about staying hidden. You avoid open areas, stay alert, and rely on your speed and tricks to escape danger. For players who enjoy pure survival gameplay, Hypsi offers one of the most unique experiences in the Isle. But before we move on to some of the most dangerous dinosaurs in the game, there's one survivalist that relies entirely on speed. The Gallimimus is the fastest herbivore in the game, and unlike the smaller dinosaurs, Galli is built for covering huge distances. With incredible speed and strong stamina, a good Gallimimus can simply outrun most threats. This makes it one of the safest dinosaurs for exploring the map. But the Galli has a dark side, because it's the most notorious baby killer in the game, because its kicks are deadly. Just make sure mom isn't watching, because Galli's only the second fastest after all. But now the dinosaurs are getting a little more difficult to play, and few are as dangerous as this one. The Ceratosaurus is one of the most unique carnivores to play, because Cerato thrives on death, with abilities that let it consume rotting corpses and even weaponize its own sickness against enemies. This gives the Cerato a very different playstyle. Instead of chasing prey across the map, the Cerato often waits, watching and striking when the moment is right. But Cerato still has limits. Larger dinosaurs can overpower it, and faster ones can escape. So successful Cerato players rely on patience. You control territory and wait for the perfect moment to strike. When played well, the Cerato becomes the most dangerous opportunist in the Isle. But this next carnivore is far more deadly. Compared to the Cerato, the Allosaurus is on a completely different level. It's twice the size, and that extra weight makes a huge difference. Allo hits harder, takes more punishment, and can overpower most mid-sized dinosaurs. But it also has some of the most dangerous attacks in the game. Its claw swipe deals massive bleed damage, and once a target is weakened, Allo can latch on and start overwhelming it. And if enough Allos pounce at the same time, even larger targets can be pinned down and finished. This makes Allo one of the most dangerous hunters in the ecosystem, but power comes with trade-offs. Allo is heavier and less agile, meaning it can be overwhelmed by faster opponents. Allosaurus can hunt solo, but finding a pack is the best way to survive. But there's one herbivore that even Allos fear, the Maiasaurus. At first glance, the Maia might just look like another large herbivore, but for mid-tier carnivores, it's actually a nightmare to deal with. That's because Maia is incredibly fast for its size, and its speed paired with its combat abilities make it an absolute beast. But Maia has one major weakness, because Maia's attacks take tons of stamina to use, and if you kick too much, you quickly lose your ability to run, turning you into a free meal. Maia is powerful, but overconfidence will get you killed every time. You need to run while you still have the chance. But speed isn't the only way that herbivores survive in the Isle. Some don't run at all. They stand their ground, and few dinosaurs do that better than the Diablo. When in the right hands, the Diabloceratops is an absolute combat beast, and it's not afraid to take a risky fight. With powerful horn attacks and strong durability, the Diablo will make sure you regret fighting it. But the Diablo isn't invincible, because most carnivores are still faster, and if you can't find a strong position fast, or there's simply too many of them, then there's not much you can do. So playing Diablo is all about positioning. If you can find a strong position fast, then you might survive to see another day, but if not, then you're as good as dead. But this next dinosaur has the most advanced defense system in the Isle. The Stegosaurus' tail can be used to defend itself from almost all angles, which makes it one of the most respected herbivores in the entire game. And its tail is so effective that when fully grown, it can even be used to defend itself against the most dangerous of predators. But until you're big enough to defend yourself, most predators can take you down easily. And even once fully grown, if you mistime too many of your swings, you can quickly run out of stamina, which makes defending yourself pretty much impossible. As a small stego, you have to avoid fights, but once fully grown, fights avoid you. This next dinosaur is feared by even the largest of herbivores, because at night, the Dilophosaurus becomes the most lethal hunter in the game. Because the Dilo has venom, and once its prey is fully inflicted, each Dilo can send its own set of clones. And these hallucinations aren't just for confusing prey, because they actually do damage. Meaning once the Dilos get enough bites to fully envenomate something, they can simply sit back and watch as their prey struggles to fight imaginary clones. This strategy is so effective that at night, a coordinated group of Dilos can take down just about anything. But the Dilo has one major weakness, because during the day, its venom is weaker, and it becomes extremely vulnerable to faster predators. Dilo has to be careful during the day, but at night, it becomes an unstoppable predator. But if you want a pack hunter that's dangerous at all times of the day, then the Omniraptor is one of the most fun dinosaurs to play with friends. Its pounce allows it to do huge damage over time, and with enough raptors stacking damage, a coordinated group can take down just about any dinosaur. But the raptor is small and extremely fragile, meaning one mistake can mean instant death. So playing raptor is all about precision. A coordinated group of Omnis can take down just about any dinosaur, but there's very little room for mistakes. However, not all dinosaurs have sharp claws. Some survive with something a little more blunt. The pachycephalosaurus is on the smaller side of herbivores, but taking that for weakness would be a huge mistake. Because the Pachy has abilities to break bones, crippling opponents, and quickly turning the aisle's fastest carnivore into the deadest one. This makes the Pachy's aggression both its biggest strength and its biggest weakness, because not every dinosaur can be easily crippled, and even with that thick skull of yours, you can still die. By all means defend yourself, but don't overestimate your power. Most dinosaurs never look up, which is a huge problem because up in the trees is home to the Isle's very own assassin. The Herrerasaurus is one of the most versatile dinosaurs in the game, and its power comes from its pounce. Its pounce deals high damage, but most importantly, deals some of the most bleed damage in the entire game. And if prey can't find a way to stop the bleeding fast, its fate is sealed. And the Herrerasaurus can even hit trick shots. And it's technically semi-aquatic, because it can hold its breath for more than a minute. But the Herrera does have one major weakness, because in open fields, the Herrera is no match for faster carnivores. The Herrerasaurus is strong for its size, but this next dinosaur takes that strength to another level, because the Troodon is the second lightest carnivore in the entire game, and because of this, most Troodons camp the sanctuary, waiting for an unsuspecting juvenile to pass by, and taking it as an easy opportunity to feed their young. And because of Troodon's small size, this strategy actually works. But some Troodons have bigger dreams, because when in a pack, the Troodon is capable of unimaginable power. At first, they're a small annoyance, almost not worth killing. But then, the panic sets in, because like the Dilo, the Troodon has its own form of venom. And after the first pounce, things go downhill quickly. The venom causes a foggy hallucination, making it nearly impossible to spot any incoming Troodons or defend yourself at all. And in its final stage, each Troodon does 3 times more damage per pounce, which gets you killed quicker than you could ever imagine. But Troodon's weakness is obvious. It's fragile, and one mistake against even the smallest of opponents can be fatal. So if you're a beginner, maybe just stick to the sanctuary for now. However, there is one carnivore that's even lighter than the Troodon. The Pteranodon is unique because it's the only creature in the game that can fly, giving it a very unique playstyle. Young Pteranodon relies almost entirely on caught fish to sustain itself. But when fully grown, it has a few more options, because although Pteranodon is primarily a scavenger, it's not afraid to get its beak dirty. This killer bird can actually take down small dinosaurs, and to a 45 kilogram pterosaur, that's more than enough to sustain itself. But Pteranodon's main weakness is clumsiness, because making mistakes while flying is the #1 cause of death for these small pterosaurs. And don't fly too close to the water, because beneath its surface is one of the most dangerous dinosaurs of all time. The Beipiaosaurus is the most aggressive murder duck you'll ever meet, and it doesn't mess around, because once it finds a pond it likes, Nothing is allowed to drink there. No one knows why the Beipi is so violent, because as an omnivore, it can't even eat other dinosaurs. But Beipi does have one clear weakness, because on land, it loses all of its power, and if any carnivore sees you, there's nothing much you can do. But there's one aquatic dinosaur even more dangerous than the Beipi. The Deinosuchus is the largest creature of them all, even bigger than the T-Rex. But you weren't always a beast, because you spawned in here, 1,000 times smaller than your future self, with camouflage being your only advantage. And so as the hunger starts to set in, you get desperate. You attack a bigger dino. Which didn't exactly go as planned. But say you had escaped. Say you had made it out of the swamp. Now you survive on what little fish you can find. And because you get lucky, you even manage to find a mostly uneaten, dead Ceratosaurus. You're one of the lucky few who make it this far, and now you're bigger. You see a Tenno across the river start to drink, and you take this opportunity for your first big catch. You approach, and luckily, he doesn't see you coming. You take it to the depths and drown it. And you eat it. Life is finally getting good. But you forgot about one thing, because there's only one rule in Dino Land. There's always a bigger croc. We've just looked at all 20 playable dinosaurs currently in the game, and hopefully, after watching this video, you have a better idea of which one you want to pick. Feel free to leave a like if you found this video useful, and huge thanks to everyone who helps me film. If you want to be in the next one, feel free to join my Discord linked below. And I'm going to talk a little bit more because I need this video to reach exactly 17 minutes long. Thanks for watching.